everyone. I'm Marcella, and today I'm here at the Grog shop with Kathy Blackman. Thank you for having us with you.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. So, tell us a little about the Grog shop.
Can you see the club in the background?
Yeah, I wanted to get the stage.
Look at a pretty stage.
I know. I feel like we gotta showcase that all.
So the Grog shop is a live music venue in Cleveland, Ohio, just on the east side of the city in Cleveland Heights, in a kind of hipster. No, it's not hipster.
It's pretty. I'd say it's hipster.
It used to be. It's a neighborhood called Coventry, and there's a bunch of eclectic mom and pop stores and restaurants, and Grog shop fits right in. We are a 400 capacity venue. Basically, GA, as you can see, not many seats, although occasionally we do have seats. Last night we had a Grog Idol for our first time, and it was really fun. And so we had about 90 seats, and then we were on the stage, and it was really successful. I was kind of blown away about how awesome it was.
I was actually just watching American Idol.
Yeah, and I was one of the judges, and I I think I watched it the first season, which is now many years ago. So I was it was all new to me, and I was really surprised how quality the contestants were.
Yeah.
So we sort of just put it out there to the public, and we had 16 people, and I'd say maybe except for like 2 or 3, they were all really good. So I was really impressed.
Did you have like a clear winner? Are you gonna do
so we did it just one and done because we weren't sure what the reaction was going to be, but we did so similar to apparently American Idol, unbeknownst to me. We did a text to win, so the audience voted. So we were just sort of like the critiques, the judges, but then we each had like a golden ticket kind of thing where we could pick one person that we liked that got like 10 extra votes or something. So there was definitely a clear winner. We had put it out to like the local high school here, Cleveland Heights High School, and some other local places, for younger people. And 3 of the Heights kids were contestants, 3, and one of the girls, she was 16 years old, youngest one, and she clearly knew how to play the game because all of her friends were here and family, and that's how you win.
It seems like you guys really do bring in like a younger audience.
We try. I mean, we do a little bit of everything. So this is the club, basically. We've been around for 32 and a half years. And when we opened, we were down the street for about 11 years. The club was roughly half this size.
Okay.
And we moved here just because by necessity, because I lost my lease. So somebody bought the building and they didn't want us there anymore. And after a lot of searching around, we found this space here, which was great because I wanted to stay in the neighborhood. So we've been here for 21 plus years, and we do a lot of different things. So sometimes it is for a younger audience, but not always. Like tonight, we have a comedy night because, as you know, when you run your own club, you always have to do many things to pay your bills. So even though we are predominantly a live music club that caters to touring bands, original music, a variety of genres, you constantly have to do things to fill the room, and you're not always going to have a show. So every other Monday we do something called Make 'em Laugh Monday. There's a local host that has curated it. I mean, I don't even know how many years he's been doing it, but a lot of years. Pre-COVID, through COVID, post-COVID, and so that's tonight, and that'll be a completely different audience than was last night. And tomorrow night we have a show with a band from Mexico City. It's Sonido Gallo Negro, and they're like cumbia, like like a full piece, like 8 piece band, and there's a local band opening, Hello 3D. So it's super great music, like great. They're all great musicians. It's mostly instrumental, but it's that Latin psych cumbia style, and that crowd will be way older. So it all depends.
Do you like cater to like original bands?
Yes, mostly. Yeah. I mean, obviously, last night was an exception because although one person did have an original song. Yes, for the most part, I'd say 90% of the stuff we do here is bands that are original, up and coming. Sort of starting out their career in the first rung of touring. So we're 400 cap. They would play here and then graduate onto like a 700 capacity room, and then like a House of Blues or something more in the 12,000 to 1,500 range, and then the Agora, and then the outdoor shed. So it's like there's a trajectory, and we're the bottom rung, but the most important.
Yeah, is that what you try to do, like kind of get people started?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
like a
I've said this many times in many interviews, but I say you should be nice to us because you'll see us on the way up and on the way down.
Okay.
So, sometimes they're at the, sometimes they were here in their career and now they're back here, but, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have some, notable people that have come through this place?
Oh, a bajillion. I mean, the most famous that people always say, Bruno Mars played here.
Oh, really?
For his first, time in Cleveland. Oasis played here for their first time in Cleveland.
Oh, wow.
I mean, if you look at that wall up there, those are all the bands that started from, those were all the bands from the old Grog Shop. So, 90s and early 2000s. So, like Flaming Lips are pretty huge now. I don't know, what's your musical... What do you like?
Okay.
I could tell you from your genre who's played here.
I like rock and roll and blues and stuff like that.
So,
but really everything.
A little bit of everything.
But, yeah.
I mean, we've done like hardcore bands that have gotten huge. We've, what's Cake played their first show at the Old Grog. I don't know, Cake's pretty big now. A lot of jam bands have started there. A lot of hip hop has started here. Like Wiz Khalifa, Kid Cudi, Machine Gun Kelly, so in every genre, I think we've seen, little bits of everything.
This place is no joke.
Yeah. Serious business.
Yeah. So what kind of, inspired you to transition into the music industry with this place?
This is a question, once again, that I always get asked that there's really no good answer for. I was young. I was just out of college. I didn't know what I was doing. I was working at a restaurant, writing for a newspaper, and the opportunity sort of just presented itself to open a bar at our old location. And then it slowly evolved into being a music club. Not that slowly. Within a year, we were pretty much doing music a lot. But at the beginning, we were like, we'll have a band here and there, and we'll do food, and we'll just be a bar. And it just evolved organically. There was no plan.
I wanted to know a little bit about the process of how you decide which bands to book and how that whole negotiation process goes.
Because we are established and been around for a long time, the majority of our shows, especially the bigger stuff, comes through a network of booking agents. So that some of whom I've known for 20 plus years, some of whom are newer. There's a plethora of agents out there, agencies big creative artists, William Morris, Wasserman. Those are the big boys, and then there's smaller ones like Flower is a little, Flower Booking, or actually Flower Booking is not even an agency anymore, but there's some smaller ones, but some are huge, have a ginormous roster, and what we do is a very small piece of them. They have comics and actors and musicians, but some are smaller, and we deal with all of them. So I get emails constantly can you hold the show? Can you, do you have this date available? I have a team in the office who is very helpful. Without them, I would not be able to do what I do because I am old and I don't know about any music. I reach out to somebody like Mello, and I said, Mello, how's this band? Will they do well? And he says, yes, Kathy, they will. Book them. Yes. And he's always right. But, depending on the genre, we have somebody reached out today about a death metal show. Not my thing. So I reached out to somebody who runs a club in Cleveland and said, hey, Emma, how do you think this will do? We kind of lean on each other because we all don't, it's sort of a guessing game and it's a gamble. So then you got to send an offer and they have to accept it or not accept it. So you have to sort of predict in your head, this is going to do 200 people. This is going to do 100, 400 people. What can I charge? And sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong.
Okay. So you mainly rely on the booking agent's advice?
They come to me with the potential shows, and then I have to send them an offer, and it's then it's the negotiation starts.
Do you do some research on social media?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and we'll look into it so unless it's somebody I know and I love or I'm very familiar with, then always yes.
Okay.
Yeah, constantly have to search. Yeah.
I actually interviewed Justin Gracie a couple
days
ago.
Oh, did
he told me he knew you.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, tell her I said hello.
Nice. For this project?
For this project.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yes, I think Justin, was he one of my interns? Did he say he was one of my interns?
Yeah, he said he did some
I think he did something when he was either, it might have been when he was in high school.
Yeah.
He did his senior project here. And then he ended up going he went to Kent. Or maybe he went to Ohio State. No,
It
I think
was
he went to
Kent,
Kent. It was
yeah.
Kent. And he was in music there, and he got involved. And then, we've come, and now we work really well together, and so once again, Justin, he's into a certain genre of music, so I will text him and be like, Justin, how will this show do? And conversely, he'll sometimes say, hey, I need an opener for this aging rock band. Who should I put on it? Who draws? And, we definitely rely on each other in the network of clubs, which is really nice. I mean, obviously we're competitors, but we're like frenemies, like we have to make sure, I think for the good of the Cleveland scene overall, that nobody is like paying too much money, because then it teeters the scale. And also, we want to, I'd like to think everybody wants to see others succeed and be helpful. So, I'm not shy to ask questions.
Right.
So I do not know most of the answers.
Well, yeah, it's good to use your community and make friends. That's kind of the message I've been getting lately, is just to build that network. And
so what did Justin say? What was his deal with all this?
Yeah, he basically said same thing. Build that network and just don't be an asshole, just be friendly, and the more that people want to sit down and have a beer with you. It's nice
to be important, but it's more important to be nice.
Yes.
Always. It's a
Ooh,
good
write
quote.
that down, everybody.
That's a good quote. That was my very good friend who is no longer with us, Dan Rogan. That was one of his sayings, and it's a good one. Very good one. Let's try to live by that one.
Yes. Okay, yes. Okay, so I heard about the COVID challenge and all of the moving and stuff that you had to do. And I also heard that you were able to find the city of Cleveland as a funding source.
So I'm not in the city of Cleveland. So I'm in Cleveland Heights.
Cleveland Heights.
Yes. So we did not. We got a little bit of money.
Okay.
Not really from. They probably. I think there were so many relief funds happening.
Okay.
The first year was very oh my God, what are we gonna do? And then as it went on, I was very fortunate to get the. Why can't I think of the freaking name? NEVA came about, which is the National Independent Venue Association.
Okay. Was
formed in the midst of COVID, and the SVOG funds. So
SVOG.
So what small was it? Now I can't. This is was my life. That's all I did was apply for grants and do this. But it was SVOG was the name of the grant, and I cannot remember now what it stands for. Is that crazy?
SVOG.
Something.
Anyways,
look it up. So that's where there was all sorts of things that went on, but I'm in Cleveland Heights. There was ARPA dollars and certain things that went to the City of Cleveland venues. There was things you could apply for. Let's be honest. It was really rough, and we were closed for a long time. But then all these relief funds came in, and we're fine.
Cool.
It was obviously the landscape changed a little. It was tough to come back. There were some dicey years. It was up and down. I think we probably, coming out of COVID, it was more like, oh my God, these shows were getting canceled or not getting canceled, and it sort of gave people a license. I don't feel good, or my show sucks, so I'm sick, I'm not coming. That was that went on a little too long. But I'd say for the most part, besides the fact that we may have set a new precedent for paying bands and stuff, and based because we had all these extra funds that just sort of get us started again, and that might have not have been a good baseline, in my opinion, because I do think it was not realistic. Was this band really worth this money, or were we paying it because we wanted to get back started up again?
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of that, and whatever. It's 2025. It's been probably 3 years since, I'd say 2022 is when we started coming back. A little bit more reasonably. So the past couple of years, they've been up and down, and they're not the worst years I've ever had. They're not the best, but I don't think you can blame COVID anymore.
Yeah.
it's kind of an old thing.
We're just gonna black that out. Yeah.
Right. I kind of loved it because I didn't work for a year and a half. It was lovely, and I had been working my entire life. Once the sheer panic of it all was over, after the first 6-8 months where I was terrified I was going to lose my house and about all my employees, I was like, this is I kind of love COVID.
Yeah.
So
Get to
I miss COVID.
Stare at a wall, maybe read a book or watch some TV.
It was kind of great.
Yeah.
Lovely. It was very relaxing.
Yeah, I bet
for me.
owning a place is very busy.
Yeah. It's nonstop. So I was like, Remember that COVID thing? That was great.
Yeah. Yeah, how do you balance your work life now? Like,
I mean,
being so
you just
busy?
do your best. So you like, sometimes I'm super busy, sometimes I'm not. I try to, my kids are just like, my youngest is a senior now in high school, so he'll be gone soon. So, it's they're gone or not as a big part of my life. It was harder when they were like, 10, 8, 10, when you're younger, and I had a million things with them and a million things here. But now it's a little like, I actually have free time again. You just, you do your best. I'm not really here at night that much anymore, but then, last night I was here, tomorrow night I'm going to be here, and then we're doing a bake-off on Wednesday.
I saw that.
Yeah, so that, I'll be here for that too, because I love those kind of things. And then I have a show tonight that we're promoting at the Beachland Yola Tango, so I'll be there. So actually, this week is an example of, like, I'm working a lot, but then sometimes I don't work at all, for 10 days at night. I'm here during the day, and the difference is I'm always on call. Let's put it that way. Like, somebody will call at any time and say, like, something went wrong, or, the fire alarm went off, or the bathroom is broken, or, shit like that never stops. But, the actual, like, pouring drinks and sitting here all night and closing at 2 a.m. doesn't really happen very often anymore.
Because you get to kind of make your own schedule and then come in when they need you.
Delegate is key.
Okay. Yeah. You the boss.
Yeah. Exactly.
How do you, like, manage your team exactly? Like, what does a day look like?
I mean, we have a very small group here, very small team, so it's more like family. So, like most families, it's like we get along most times, but we butt heads a lot, and it's just really navigating everybody's personality and being, courteous and respectful of their time and their, I wouldn't expect them to put anything in more than I would put in myself. So I think that's really important. They need to see that you're boots on the ground, that you'll do. I'll mop the floor if I have to. I'll clean the toilet. I don't give a shit. So, no pun intended. But I just just sometimes people take advantage. Probably a little bit here and there. But I think ultimately everybody here cares about the club doing well, and it's it affects them personally. If the bar does shitty, nobody's making any tips. There's a trickle down effect. Like, so I do think we do work well together to sort of help make sure that things don't fall apart. But I don't really know. I don't know if I have good management skills or not. I'm a little flaky. I'm all over the place. I do like 900 things at once, and as you can tell from me calling you 3 times a day to change the time. But
well, you're a good communicator, though, so that's a
yes.
huge thing.
And I'm also like a huge multitasker, and will do like 9 things at once and not always finish all of them. So, and then somebody has to follow me around and clean up my messes, sort of. But I realize that not everybody works that way, and it's sometimes a little disarming.
Well, what do you think
them.
your strengths are that have, like, sort of led you to success in certain ways?
I just, maybe once again, willing to do anything at any time, and not thinking you're above anybody else or any other job or any, and being respectful and conscientious, and just, I don't know. I'm a hard worker, and I do expect other people surrounding me to be hard workers, but sometimes I'm like, I get impatient. I'm like, if you're not going to do it right or quickly enough, I'll just do it,
right.
Which might be a little, I'm not for everyone, it might be a little bit for other, depends what kind of person you are, but I don't know. I just think, I like people, and I just generally like things to be on a positive note, even though that's not how life is all the time. So I think having that attitude is helpful. I don't know.
So, what kind of specific advice would you give to, like, a young whippersnapper like me who wants to maybe
don't do it.
Work in a music
Run,
industry?
don't walk. I know people always like, oh, it sounds like such a glamorous job. It's not that glamorous. First of all, it is a lot of work. I mean, everyone thinks, oh, you have the greatest job. I'm like, it's really not. It's like 24/7. There's a lot of responsibility. And it's a gamble. Like, as good as things can get, they get really shitty sometimes. And things, like, are awful. And you could have a horrible month and be freaking out. Like, how am I going to pay my rent next month? And and this is after many, many years of doing it. So you're never infallible. I think you just, if you really want to do it, just work hard and constantly know that, like, things can't remain the same. You've got to look at all angles and always think of new stuff to be reinventing yourself, because and your club and your mission and how you're doing things, because things change all the time, and what worked last week or last year or 10 years ago, it certainly probably doesn't work today. So you have to figure it out. Learn by doing, I think, is how I do things. Now, not everybody has the luxury of like time or to figure it all out, because it's like it was my ship to sink or swim. So it's like it depends where you are. But I mean, if you want to work in this industry, I'd say like get into a club and just start doing anything you can, even if it's passing out flyers, just showing up and what can I do to help, and yes
yeah, you guys, I mean, the trend that I could see like changing is all the social media, and everyone's got to be on there, even though like
I mean, like Rachel does an amazing job of that. I mean, I pretend like I can do it, I cannot. I like it's really hard, and we have a really small team that does it too. I mean, some people have whole departments, 2-3 people that are doing what one person does in our office. So it's yes, you do constantly, like, we're not on TikTok because I think we do have a TikTok, but I might have my daughter who's 19 when she comes home from college, like set me up a TikTok, because I'm like, she's got to figure it out for me, and that's something she could do, not me, But I don't even know. What do you think? Do you think TikTok's important?
Yeah, I honestly do.
But do you think it's important for like this, for bands, for music? Like, I mean, I know my kids are on TikTok all the time, but are they really out there going to see shows? They hear snippets of some stupid song, but does that mean they're going to actually pay money to come to a club and see the band or not? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely gets like live venues out there. Like, I feel like when I am looking for places to do in a community, I go to TikTok and I look up like things to do in Cleveland or things to do.
Do you see us on TikTok? I'm just curious.
I definitely saw you guys on Instagram.
Instagram,
you guys
we're definitely
have a really nice
we have a
Instagram.
really nice Instagram.
Yeah.
TikTok is our weakness, I think.
Yeah, I do like.
But
TikTok.
So let me ask you this: is there another club or a place that you go? Obviously, Miami is not the thriving metropolis for live music, probably.
Right.
But is there somewhere that does have a TikTok that you do follow, and you're like, wow, they do a good job at this? A music venue. So I can copy them.
Right. I think Miami does have a lot of action on TikTok. Definitely on Instagram. I don't know. Have you heard of Brick Street? The big band, like, it's a huge place. It's kind of like a giant warehouse where all the college kids go, and they have a lot of live music there, but mostly like DJ.
Yeah. Are they on TikTok though?
I think they do have a TikTok, yeah, or people are just making TikToks and tagging Miami.
So if you have a TikTok, this is my question too. Like, are people like going to your page, or it's not like that?
Yeah, it's kind of like the For You page, I guess. You just gotta do the hashtags and try to. There are promotional things too on there that you could like kind of pay to.
Well, I know this day and age you have to pay to get anything seen.
Yeah, to get anything seen basically. But if you're like sharing it, like for this podcast, for example, I was planning on like posting it on YouTube.
Right.
And then the visual aspect of it would be to take little clips of it and post it on TikTok and be like, hey, go look at my YouTube.
Right.
Or put it on Instagram.
Gotcha.
Or
it's like a means to a way, sort of.
Yeah, I feel like it's like you got your toes in a couple different ponds,
right.
And I feel like
so the TikTok points you in the direction of the nuts and bolts of what you want to sell.
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of young people are on TikTok.
I mean, I know my kids are all the time.
I am too.
Yeah, like they're addicted to it. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the hell they watch.
Yeah, it's
occasionally he will, like my son will be like, oh yeah, I saw this thing, and I'm like, that was it's something. There was like some basketball player that was at some show, or maybe they had a jersey for him. I don't know. He saw it on TikTok. Yeah. I was like, you did? But I don't know who put it there.
Yeah, I think a TikTok page would be really helpful.
I mean, I do believe we have one, but I'm not entirely sure how it runs.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let me know.
So research it for me.
I will.
Come up with like 3 good things, and I'll, we'll see.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah, because I want to post the clips of this on TikTok too, and it kind of, it's good to cross-contaminate
Right.
apps,
Absolutely.
you know, and maybe the podcast app too or whatever. But yeah, it's
So who else is on the podcast?
so Justin Gracie and do you know Scott Jones with the Cleveland Music Group? Cleveland Music Group is like a booking agency for Cleveland, and they kind of do more weddings and
Gotcha.
special events and
I
stuff.
feel like the name sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scott Jones. I'm going there tomorrow, and yeah, I'm gonna interview him too.
All right.
Yeah, it's just nice to like see people's faces in the industry
Right.
because, you know, I have all these, you know, dreams of working in the industry, and talking to people really helps to like kind of figure out what's going on in here.
Right.
You know?
I hear you.
Yeah,
Well, too bad you weren't closer. You could have done an internship here.
I know. Yeah.
Did you do one in Miami somewhere close by? You're not really close to anything, right?
Yeah, I kind of did one like at Miami.
Yeah.
And kind of with like a teacher who was starting a pilot project about like working with arts organizations.
Yeah. Oh, that's
and
cool. So it's-
trying to kind of advocate for the arts more to like the government and
Gotcha.
get more like funding. That's why I was
Mhm.
asking you about the arts and funding, because
Yeah.
we're talking a lot about like how the government supports the arts.
Well, they are
and-
trying to do a Cleveland, Cuyahoga County Music, or what are they going to call it? Cleveland Music. I think they're trying to call it Cuyahoga County Music Commission, like an organization that would sort of
Yeah.
do all that. So we just had our first meeting last week, and like Chris Renane called the meeting. There was a lot of really influential people in the room. They had like the film commission guy, David Gilbert, who's the sports commission, and Sean and Cindy all spoke. You know, just sort of like how do we get started? And there was lots of people there from all sorts of foundations, all sorts of walks of life in the music industry. So if it happens, and we'll have more and more meetings, it'd be something interesting to just be a fly on the wall for.
Yeah, I would totally love that. What kind of strategies were they talking about?
Well, I mean, this is like meeting one. So
Okay.
they would sort of talk to the other commissions who exist. How did you get started? And then, you know, they've set up some smaller meetings and committees, and I don't know. I don't know what the next steps are, but hopefully it's good to know that we do have a county official that's interested in making it happen. It's all about money. You know,
Yeah,
so that's
basically,
figure out how to get funding and all that.
One more question, and I think it might be like really important. So,
Okay.
what's your zodiac sign?
Virgo.
No way.
Yes.
Justin was a Virgo too.
Really?
Yeah, maybe I should become a Virgo. I should switch.
What is yours?
I'm a Sagittarius.
I don't know much about the zodiac signs, but I feel like everything I read about Virgos are not necessarily, like, I don't really see myself, but then there's certain stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of
You
a
could
little
take
vague.
what you, yeah.
There's a whole bunch of factors. Okay, Miss Virgo.
All right, well,
Thank
we'll
you
see where it gets
again.
me. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Kathy.
All right.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Woohoo! Bye.
Did you get Leo in it? Come here, buddy.